AEW does it again and blows the Forbidden Door off the hinges. Where is Ring of Honor and why it needs to be on our TV? And also tribalism in pro wrestling. All this and more on another episode of the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling. Eddy, Marcus, Brad, it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. For those of you that have listened to episode 1, we greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it so much. And we're currently at the time of this taping, it is the 4th of July here in the United States of America.
America.
Some people celebrate it, some people don't. They have the reasons, to each their own, but we just wish everyone had a happy and safe holiday and make sure no one lost any fingers and no trips to the emergency room. And also no trips on the grill. Hey, did you guys, Marcus, you posted that in the group with it's not funny. It's kind of silly, but I laughed. And the fact that this happened in real life, what was Kai Cenat rooms like blew to smithereens?
Oh yeah, I don't know what that was. I just saw the thing like Batista's entrance is like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what the hell? And just seeing the like who did this? Who would do something like this? It's either a prank or somebody just trying so hard trying to get reactions and likes and clout on social media. You done burnt your damn house down. It's crazy.
Dude, it had to be the funniest thing I've seen in my life. I watched it 10 times, and every time I laughed harder. I'm like, I can't believe this. What are we doing here?
I'm like, why? Why would you do this?
Mm.
You saw it, right, Eddy?
I did. It was great.
That's why he's laughing like he is.
All I remember seeing him trying to fight the dude, and then the guy lights the box on fire, and I'm like, yeah.
I walk alone.
Yeah.
I walk for miles inside this bit of danger.
I hope they were able to walk the hell out of the house. Because I'm telling you, man, that room filled up real quick. It was like boom.
Very quick. As soon as the one on top just fell, and that was it. It was a chain reaction.
That was it. I would love to see the aftermath of that room.
Same.
Just to be like, what happened, and what do you do to? I mean, Kai Cenat, he's one of the top streamers, so you know he can get it fixed. You know,
charred and black, I'm sure.
Yes.
Reeking of smoke.
Yeah, reeking of gunpowder. Like kids, there's a lot of things to do on social media. There's a lot of things to do to get clout and attention. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't ruin your house.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
especially
if you live with your parents. You really can't do that. You know, your mom and dad are gonna kill your ass. All right, fellas. So let's go ahead and hop into it tonight. We got some topics to talk about tonight. First of all, AEW Forbidden Door. They blew the door off the hinges once again with another stellar pay-per-view. I wasn't able to watch it, but I kind of saw the results and some of the highlights, and I saw the one spot with Konosuke Takeshita. What was that, like a spinning blue thunder bomb on the table?
Yeah, through two tables to LEP. And yeah, that was a beautiful spot.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow. That was crazy. So what do you guys think of the card? And tell me your favorite moments from the night and opine upon it, if you will.
All right. Well, I guess I'll jump in. I did see it. Watched it from the buy-in all the way to even the media scrum. Yeah, like you said, it was a typical. I don't want to say typical because I know I've talked with both of y'all, but for those who may be listening, it felt like there was one point in time with AEW pay-per-views where they were kind of starting to dip a little bit in quality, and then it kind of came back up. And yeah, this one definitely is back up again. My personal favorite match of the night, I probably have to say Swerve and Ospreay. But I also really enjoyed Shingo and Bryan Danielson. I enjoyed Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr. I enjoyed Tony and Mina Shirakawa. That was a great match. And I thought that match should have went on in the same slot that Mercedes and Steph Vacour got. Mercedes and Steph Vacour was one of the weaker matches in my opinion. Steph Vacour looked great. Mercedes looked off that night, and I'll go on record as saying I think Mercedes Moné is slightly overrated. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm not saying she's horrible. Personally, I've always thought she was a little bit overrated. She has some bangers on her resume. She knows how to move in the ring. Her gimmick and character irks my soul. And her in-ring work is good, but I don't think is what I do like the little dance and I
the
like that.
shimmy.
I like
Yeah.
that. But that's about it. But yeah, Steph Backer looked awesome in that match. And I've heard about her. I followed her for years on Facebook without ever even seeing a match of hers. And I've only really seen full matches of hers within the past few days. And she's on point. But Mina Shirakawa and Tony, I thought stole the show for the women, as well as the pre-show with Willow and Tam Nakano. No, Willow and Tam Nakano versus Statlander, Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. And that was a really good match too. I thought that should have been on the main card probably. And the only other match I really felt that was kind of weak was actually Moxley versus Naito. I was disappointed with that one. I was hoping for more. Moxley, his matches are hit or miss for me. I mean, it's mostly the same thing in every match, just very hard fighting, as we like to
Yeah.
say. Naito, and I know I mentioned this to y'all in our personal chat the other day. He looks slow, and y'all say, yeah, he's definitely not what he used to be a couple of years ago. And I get that, that Japanese strong style is very hard on the body, and you can definitely tell he moves really slow. Tanahashi moves really slow. Guys like that, I guess, as they get older, they just conk out a little bit quicker than maybe the Western workers. So, but all in all, I thought it was a great pay-per-view. It was awesome. I thought it was yeah, it's just awesome. I'll
Yeah,
stop talking about it.
yep, that's Naito's style. Naito has never been one to, flip flop and fly, running around the ring real fast. It's slow and then boom, 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 and then back to being slow, boom, 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 and back to being slow. It's like, every time Naito is in the ring, he's telling the story. If you just watch how he moves around, mannerisms, taking his sweet Aunt Lucy time when he comes to the ring, unbutton his, one by one, the fist, the eye taunt and everything, and just kind of Naito was even funner when he had both the belts and he beat that poor Intercontinental Championship belt just to pieces. Taking this and just throw it in the ring, and I was like, I think I did it at work one time before. I didn't throw a belt per se. The girl had the server. She had a server list like for the side work list. I was like, let me see that. No, not for. Let me see it. I and walk off. She's like, don't do that. I'm like, I ain't gonna do it again. And then it's like, hey, let me see the server list. No, you're gonna throw it in the air. No, I'm gonna no, I'm stopped. But anyways, yeah, that's Naito's style. And Tanahashi, in the early part of the 20th century, he was doing his thing, but Father Time is undefeated and it'll creep up on you real quick.
His bump card is almost completed and filled up.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah. Brad, what you think about your take on Forbidden Door? What you got?
Well, for most of Forbidden Door, I got to watch the pre-show, most of the show, except for the first match. My feed cut out during the six-man with Scissor Ace versus the Acclaim. Sorry, Scissor Ace and the Acclaim versus the Elite. It conked out during that, but it came back finally. Honestly, my favorite match out of that whole night, it's a tie between Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy, and the Mystico, Ray Phoenix, Penta El Zero Viejo, LIJ, six man on the pre-show. Um, that was a fun match. That was a lot of fun. That was fun to see Mystico mix it up with LIJ, which he had just come off a match with Hiromu Takahashi in Mexico a couple weeks ago. So they kind of continued that story as it progressed. I love the Will Willow Nightingale, Tam Nakano victory. That was a fun match. That was a lot of fun. A lot of people hadn't really seen Momo Watanabe on U.S. soil, and she's crazy. She is crazy. She her and Chris Statlander, they worked okay as a team, but in the end, when Willow and Tam ended up picking up that victory. Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy. I've never seen somebody get tied up in literal knots before in my life, and that happened in that match. Like for every counter, OC had another counter, and like people, you know how people constantly like, oh, all he does is his pockets.
Right.
If you go back and watch Beyond Wrestling, Orange Cassidy is a freaking prodigy. In his other lives, I'm not sure if people know about it, so I won't say. In his other wrestling lives, he is also fantastic there too. So Orange Cassidy's a great wrestler, despite the whole pockets thing. People just think about that too much. That dude's amazing. Yeah, that match was a great match. The main event, Swerve and Will Ospreay, fantastic counter for counter, move for move. It was pretty top notch. The TBS championship bout with Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer. If they would have shifted that one around a little bit, that probably would have moved a little bit better versus putting it in a later spot. If it was moved up and Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa got put in that spot, yeah, I think I probably would have worked a little bit better. But that match was a good match too. So overall, fantastic show. The ladder match was car crash madness, and can't wait to the next show.
It looked like it, man, because I saw the damn highlights and I was like, oh, this is straight car crash. Like there's a ladder, but then there's other stuff, and so stuff is gonna happen. Yeah, straight up stuff is gonna happen. And I was like, yeah, it just looked from what I saw. Yeah, this just looks like an absolute car crash. So AEW does it once again. Britt Baker, she made a return. She came back. Yep, DMD, and then she came back Wednesday night and delivered an emphatic promo to let us know why she was gone so long due to a medical issue. But from the looks of it, she's back better than ever, in tremendous shape. She looks well rested. She looks great. And all of a sudden they said, well, since you're in the ring, we're going to do Mercedes Moné's celebration for winning the New Japan Strong title. And of course, all celebrations turn into fights. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be all in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all in.
Yeah. Probably it all in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna, see the pillars. They try to say that the guys are the pillars of AEW. Wrong. You can't forget Hikaru Shida. You can't forget Dr. Britt Baker. Nyla Rose to an extent, and the women.
Sakura.
Yeah, Sakura. Yeah,
I know she doesn't really get a lot of push or whatever. She's more of enhancement, but I mean she's been there since day one.
Yeah. So
and Riho.
So, yeah, and Riho. So those are pillars and the cornerstones of the AEW women's division. And speaking of unlikely duos, I had no idea, and I don't know how true this is, that our favorite maniacal uncle Minoru Suzuki and what is the final boss name? What is her name?
Meiko Satomura.
And Meiko Satomura are an item.
Yeah, I just found out the other day.
No idea.
Yeah, I found out the other day because I posted that to our group.
Yeah.
And in doing so, what happened? What was it? I think I forgot how I came about it, but I ended up seeing something. I think I saw that picture in another group. And I took it from there, and somebody said that, oh, they've been together or whatever. And so much so that Minoru Suzuki moved from Japan to London to be with Meiko Satomura because that's where she's living now.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Not only are they together, but this cat moved around the world to be with her? All right, cool. And
That's commitment.
But yeah, it was news to me too.
Yeah, things you didn't think you'd see in 2024. That's one of them. That's
the bingo card.
Yeah,
choking her out on the bullet train.
I was like, look at Ike and T over here. What is this? Damn crazy love. I've heard, What you won't do for love, getting choked with a towel on a bullet train. Well, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. Yeah, it's nuts,
Yeah,
nuts.
it is. It always cracks me up every year he has a match on that train, and it's always something happening. Where I think last year was I think it was Kobayashi giving
Mm,
them chops on the train.
Oh
This year it
yeah.
was Jushin Thunder Liger was the train conductor.
wow.
And it wasn't it
Yeah.
like the governor of the province of Japan where they were in. He also got involved and like slapped or chopped
I
Suzuki.
I think so.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like every year that happens, and it's always DDT. This is like, oh, DDT never fails when it comes to this train match, but everything else, uh, viewer discretion is advice.
Yeah. I was gonna say DDT for another time and topic, but then I'm gonna talk about it. The heavy metal weight open championship,
That's
the
heavy metalweight open championship.
Yeah.
Marcus, listen, it is. If you get a chance, I'm going to send you the link about this prestigious and wildly entertaining title on Wikipedia. For about 3 hours, you're gonna do this because you're gonna see so many champions, from animate objects to inanimate. I'm listen. That has to be the wild. Okay, that has to be the wildest title, the wildest gimmick. It was at the point to where I think a ladder won the title.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a ladder pinned the guardrail, and the ladder
A
won.
ladder pinned the guardrail to win the title. Wow, I thought the
Yes.
24/7 title was crazy.
The
A
the the
ladder pinned the guardrail.
the
Yes.
24/7 title. No, the DDT Open Heavy Metalweight title. The 24/7 title wants to be that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wants to be that. But from like the few clips I saw, I'm like, why is this not on my TV more often? I need a good hee hee ha ha laugh. Why is this not? As soon as I saw the 24/7 title, I was like, I know what you're trying to do. But I'm like, you're not gonna pull it off, but I know what you're trying to. I know what you're trying to do. But this ain't no. It.
See, I was expecting like Yoshihoko to win it or whatever, which that would be a
Which,
little bit more feasible. But a
Yeah.
ladder, a guardrail,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about
Yoshihoko,
DDT,
yeah,
so
Yoshihoko has won that title before,
Yeah.
so several times, I think. So,
I'd imagine so. Yes.
Yeah. I think what happened. I think somebody even lost the title while they were asleep. They might have took the guardrail, leaned it on them. Referee three counted the guardrail. The guardrail had a belt, and somebody took a ladder, and then somebody took the guardrail and just pushed it over. I was like, "What you?" I was like, "What am I looking at?" It's just, yeah, the heavy metal open weight. I know I butchered the name, but if y'all listen, if you want a good laugh, check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
I wish, I wish American audiences could appreciate things like that. That sounds
Yeah,
like a whole bunch of fun and just hilarity to watch. And I know in Japanese culture, when you got the manga and the anime and all that stuff, a lot of it isn't meant to be serious. It's silly, it's
yeah.
crazy, it's over the top, and it's great. It's like, why can't we be more like that sometimes? Everything always got to be so compartmentalized here. And I don't know.
Stiff
I,
and rigid, stiff and rigid.
yes.
But then that
yeah.
becomes no fun. Speak,
No.
yeah. Speaking of why is it not on my TV? We had a conversation a while back, about 2 weeks ago. It's been stuck in my brain. Where the hell is ROH, and how can I see it minus it being behind a freaking paywall? Like, where are you? Like, we see bits and pieces of the company. We see people that work for the company, but we just trying. But matches, events, like, what are we doing here? And Brad, I'm gonna start with you first, man. No, actually, we're just gonna just kind of work around the horn.
Sure.
So Brad first. What do you feel that the powers that be, Tony Khan and them, that own ROH, what should they do to make the product more accessible for the public consumption? What should they do?
I'll start giving like the free trials, like how they used to do with the network in the beginning. and give people free trials of Honor Club. Kind of give them that little taste, just so they can say, hey, if you want to watch Ring of Honor action every Thursday at XYZ time, here's this. Try it for 7 days. If you like it, cool. If not, pay that $9.99 a month, and then you'll have this. Or personally, I still think that they should take Rampage, convert that to whatever Ring of Honor was on TV when it was under Sinclair Broadcasting, make it that. Because I don't think WB is going to give them any more shows right now. So I think they should take Rampage, transfer that into a Ring of Honor show for the people, just so people could see it, because it gets taped. It gets taped during either Collision or one of the other shows. It just depends on when they tape it. I would love to see it more often. I'm going to one of the residency shows that they're having this month, so I'm going to one of those and the Battle of the Belts. So I can't wait to see Death Before Dishonor. I'm excited. I already saw some of the card, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. So I think that's what they need to do. Give some trials.
What say you, Marcus?
I agree with taking that Rampage spot and making it for ROH. Because I know when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, like when ROH was before Tony Khan bought it and it was still owned by Sinclair, you would just randomly see it sometimes. Like I remember just randomly one night on the local ABC affiliate, it was on like at 11 or midnight, some at whatever on a Saturday night. And then before Tony Khan bought it, it was on Fox Sports South, and then Bally bought them out. And that's where they played it. And it was free or whatever. And I think if nothing else, Tony Khan should have the current weekly version somewhere for free. And then the Honor Club, if you want to go back and watch all the catalog in the library, have that behind the paywall for now or something, at least until you can figure out how to better present ROH on a bigger platform. Because there's no reason why you got Mark Briscoe, who is the world champ, or Claudio Castagnoli when he was the champ. They were world champions. They're seen as world champions, but they're treated less than like the least title on Dynamite or Collision. That's crazy. Especially somebody like Mark Briscoe. Like, we know what this guy's capable of. I get possibly he's holding the belt because maybe this is just a tribute to Jay. Jay held it. Mark, you can hold it for now. We're just kind of in this weird waiting period, but they need to do something to get it on TV, because there's no reason why I can watch Wild Women of Wrestling 3 times a week on TV.
3 times.
Saturday, Sunday, and I watched it last night because I missed this past Saturday and Sunday. I was busy watching other things on Saturday and Sunday night where I would usually watch Wild, and they showed on Vice at 12 o'clock at night. I still was able to catch Wild this week, but I can't watch ROH unless I pay money for it. I just think that's a little crazy.
And the thing about it is, like, WoW is a smaller company, backed by, I don't know who their
Jeannie
backers
Buss.
are.
Jeannie Buss.
Jeannie Buss.
I'm about to say, well, they got a little bit of money. No, there's some money there. So, for them to be, you got to think about it. If you saw it 3 times, the same episode 3 times a week, the product is being out there. I gotta watch it. I gotta get better watching it anyway. I gotta find it actually. But my thing is, I look at it like this. When it comes to Ring of Honor, go back to the infancy of the company and the advent of YouTube. One of the first YouTube channels I started following was Ring of Honor, because I was like, oh, this is different. Because that was around the time that was right before, I think it was after the second ECW One Night Stand, the WWE version of ECW One Night Stand. It was after that, and right before they bought ECW back on, Sci-Fi. Oh my God, that we'll say that topic for another day. And I was like, what's this? And I was like, Morishima, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Nigel McGuinness, BJ Whitmer, Jimmy Jacobs, right? The American Dragon. I've heard about him. And so and they would have these things called video wires. It'd be like a 20-minute video where they cut promos, push product, push house show dates. You didn't see a whole lot of wrestling. It was a weekly recap show.
I think I remember that too.
Yeah, Video Wire, but the weekly recap show kept me engaged because I wanted to know what was next. And then shortly after that was the first time they got on TV with HDNet, and they had a weekly show. Now the weekly Ring of Honor show, that was good too. Now that was a real good show. And then after that they kind of beefed up a little bit. Got a hold of Sinclair, and I think they were off TV for a while. And then I think they wound up being on Destination America for a little bit. And then after that, I don't know if actually, no, after that. No. After that, they were on the Fight TV app. And you can see weekly, and I think with Fight TV, they had a good platform because we can show you weekly programming, and then we can show you, we got, Death Before Dishonesty, and all the other pay-per-views upcoming too. So I always thought that was a good idea. I think in a way, man, like they should really go back to the roots of Ring of Honor because it was popular on the internet. It was wildly popular amongst the IWC. And, we ate it up and we loved it and we want some more of it. And then after that, we were able to see guys like, okay, oh, that's Samoa Joe. He was over there. Or, CM Punk, he was over there. And it ROH was a lot, man. It was a lot. And then you got to see, Tyler Black, also known as Seth Rollins, Kevin Steen, also known as Kevin Owens, and El Generico, also known as Sami Zayn. So a lot of the star power from there, damn near 20 years later, they're main eventing on the WWE main roster. But like I said, I just think that they should go back to their roots. And I think that they should go back to their roots and do his best and do his best and try to rebuild it all over again. Granted, you got a lot of competition as far as like other indie federations and everything. You got Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. I think there's another one. There's a bunch of them on YouTube. So it's just kind of like, I think you got to just kind of start back to the basics because there's talent over there.
Yeah,
a whole lot.
Lots. It's unreal.
Like, and it's just sitting there like, okay, it's like our favorite. Where is our queen? Where's she at?
Our queen.
All hell.
TV.
All hell.
Yeah.
Queen Aminata.
Yeah, we trying to see Queen Aminata, like, and I mean that Instagram. Hey, but anyways, yeah, like how come we're not seeing her? Why are we not seeing Athena? Why are we not seeing the world champion, like you said, or the tag team champions? Or I understand like the cross exposure is good for AEW and ROH, but I think it's just it should be like, hey, AEW over here, ROH over there. And from time to time, we bump heads because sometimes it just, when you put it on TV too much, it loses luster. Just like, when I, was working at the Cheesecake Factory in Atlanta, there were 5 in the area. And I told people, I said, well, the thing about it is the reason why Cheesecake is not really hopping in the city of Atlanta like it used to, because you got 5 different locations to go to instead of, up in the Cleveland area, you got 2. One on the west side, one on the east side. And it still holds that novelty. But yeah, we can all agree that give them a little taste. If you want the rest of it, you got to pay for it. So I understand, it's a company, you got to make money, but we want to see what y'all got going on over there. Don't be hiding it from us. Damn.
Yeah, like the formula. I'm sure you guys were watching AEW Dark and Dark Evolution for a little bit whenever it was on, a few years ago. I wish they would go back to that formula for Ring of Honor, just because Dark and Dark Evolution were so much fun.
It was. The commentary.
So much fun. Taz and
commentary.
Excalibur.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic commentary. You had some good matches. Like under the radar, you had some really good matches, even though they'd give you like 16 matches. And like about out of the 16, 12 were squashes, and the rest were 10, 15 minute, no good matches. I wish they would go back to that, but I think it's a money thing. And YouTube, of course. So
I think so too, because look how quick they got rid of, because what happened? as soon as Rampage came, it was on its way out, but not on its way out. But I think once Collision came, it's like, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 hours in 3 days. So are we going to oversaturate you with dark and dark elevation? Nah. So like you said, it might have been a money thing, and like, just like we found out one of the things that killed WCW. Hey, this is going so good on Mondays, you're gonna run a Thursday show, I guess. And speaking of talents that we don't see, gentlemen, I think we all can agree that both rosters of the Stanford Entertainment Coalition embezzlement team, they have an ultra bloated roster, and also AEW has a ultra bloated roster as well too, to the point where we don't see people like, we can say that it's a wrestling monopoly, but you got two of the biggest companies in the country. Yep, in the country, they have all the talent. And like, I don't know what Impact TNA's roster looks like, but it's kind of like, I think they keep it small, but I think it's like, I think AEW may, I don't think they said 200, but it was a number I heard somewhere. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I can't even imagine what the hell WWE has. So I mean, like, so is there a solution about how to, about this bloated roster thing, or like, what do you guys think? Like, let people go, put people on TV as soon as somebody gets injured, runs, like, what do you think?
Personally, honestly, I don't really know how to combat that other than make more shows, but I know it's not just that easy to say, oh, well, we'll just put another show out. And, for various reasons, one being what you just said about it's too much wrestling going on as is. It's like, I
Mm,
mean, WWE has 3 shows, and most casual people that I'm aware of, or a lot of people that I see in various comment sections on social media, half of them don't even watch NXT, which personally I feel is the best out of the 3.
mm,
But it's hard enough just keeping up. If you're a fan of all wrestling, like we typically are, and like I'll take myself for example. I watch Raw on Mondays. I watch NXT on Tuesdays, Dynamite on Wednesdays, currently got Impact on Thursdays. New Japan also comes on Thursdays. SmackDown Rampage on Friday. Collision on Saturday, and also WoW on both Saturday night and Sunday. That's not including any PLEs or pay-per-views also. That's a lot of flipping wrestling in one week. It's a lot of wrestling. So it's and I would love to see more people, kind of what we were just saying too about the ROH thing. It's like, yo, there's so many good people on ROH that I wish we could see more of. I want to see more of Mark Briscoe. I want to see more Queen Aminata. I want to see Billy Starks and Athena and all of the other people. I'm not even sure who else is wrestling on. I mean, every once in a while I'll see like the little advertisement for whoever, but just in one out the other, or
mm.
here and gone. I forget that quickly, but there's so many people that are on the main AEW roster that I don't see anymore, or I very rarely see. What happened to Wardlow? What happened to Danhausen? Now Danhausen's not even in the AEW anymore, I don't think. There's so many people that Tony Khan has signed. We don't see them anymore. There's so many people that are on WWE's roster. They get called up from NXT. They disappear. Dijak, we know, gone. What happened to Odyssey Jones? He got drafted to Raw. We ain't seen that Joker since. And half of the people that got drafted, we don't see. We may hear about them being on the Speed tournament. I don't have X. I don't get to watch Speed. I don't even know if a lot of people watch Speed like that anyway. But maybe the solution is maybe just let them go or something. Just keep some of your best talent or whatever. Maybe have like a farm league. I don't know if that's even possible, but like a farm league for wrestling. And maybe if somebody gets hurt or injured, or you're really impressed with somebody, maybe the highest bidder gets them. I don't know. I don't know how you would even do that. Maybe the farm league is called the Indies. Who knows? And in certain places like Impact, sometimes you'll get random people from the Indies to show up. Same thing with AEW. You might just get some random person from the Indies, like, oh wow, such and such is here, and they might wrestle a match or two, and then they're gone. But other than that, I personally I have no clue.
Yeah, Marcus, like you said, they just might have to let them go or do something else, or Go back to wrestling in high school gyms, and they got to figure something out, man, because there's too much talent just be sitting on their hands and not doing nothing. You can be patient, but then again, to what extent and what cost? Brad, what you got? What you think about bloated rosters in both companies?
And it's always a lot to be said about bloated rosters because you want to see your favorites on TV all the time, right? But
Mm-hmm.
of course, then there's others that that you also want to see that don't necessarily get to make it. And like Marcus mentioned, so many hours of not just WWE programming throughout the week, but also other companies throughout the week. There's so much, and Impact only has maybe what how long does Impact run? Like 2 hours these
2
days, or
hours.
is like okay. So they've got that and they've got Explosion still. They brought Explosion back.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that on their paywall thing, but it's so difficult to get everybody on TV, whether it be, you try to sneak them in a dark match, or if you try to sneak them in somewhere, even with the speed tournament for WWE,
Mm-hmm.
it's just difficult. It's just very difficult to try to get everybody on. You can add more shows, but that adds more to the budget, and then more budget means people might get cut, and that might be your favorite that gets cut, and then
Mm-hmm.
the IWC gets angry. Um, the only thing I can really think is just have a good rotation. Um, just have a good rotation of, who needs to be there, who needs to be contenders, like how they used to do. It wasn't just like the same people constantly fighting. There was always a decent rotation of, okay, you get to see this person challenge for a championship. Okay, you get to see this team challenge for the tag team championship. Just keep a steady rotation, and to kind of piggyback off the Odyssey Jones thing, they kind of basically have him doing the Titus O'Neil role
Mm.
for the next in line thing.
Yeah.
They basically have him doing that.
Mm.
So man ain't got to take a bump, nothing on Raw, and he's still working there.
And getting a check, you can't be mad at that.
No,
No.
cannot be mad at that. And I, like, with the whole AEW thing, I'll start there because they've got Wednesday Dynamite 2 hours, they've got Rampage 1 hour, and they've got Collision 2 hours. It's hard to get people on those shows, and then also they do the tapings for Ring of Honor somewhere in there.
Mm.
And that's maybe about an hour, I think, maybe about an hour, 2 hours, something like that. But they do multiple tapings, so they got they have to figure it out how to figure out. They got to figure out how to like get these rosters shifted around. Whether if somebody needs to go to, like, if it's WWE, for example, send some people to NXT for a little bit, go have some fun in Florida for a little while, kind of have some more dark matches, have some other things that you can integrate just so you can have a fresh um, flow of talent versus having, okay, it's so and so versus so and so every week, or this team and this team. Like how we used to see John Cena and Randy Orton
Mm.
every week for like 6 years. It's
My
like
God, I'm over here like I'm starting not to like. I'm not starting to like him no more. What did he do to you?
every week.
What did he do to you? I'm seeing him too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm seeing him
it's
too much. It's,
yeah, it gets to be like that sometimes. Then it's like, okay, rotate somebody out. Like you have somebody else go one on one with the Undertaker. Something. Switch it up. Switch it up. Something. I don't know, man. It's so difficult because there's so much talent and there's only so many spots. And also, I noticed this, I think it's kind of across almost all the organizations. What do they do with the tag team divisions? Because it's the guys, there might be a match and once every 3 weeks. There might be, like with the women, maybe once a month. Who knows? Uh, What are they doing with these teams? Like, are they just saying, okay, that person's a challenger? Okay, put them on TV. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
like you said, that's one of the things about. Well, first of all, I get to that, but one of the things you mentioned about Odyssey Jones, he's doing the ambassador role like Titus O'Neil. That's one of the benefits of being on a bloated roster is the fact that, okay, if I can't get in the ring now, let me express an interest on helping come up with creative. Let me express an interest with helping produce the show. Let me express an interest to representing the company outside of the ring. It's almost kind of like you got to, you're at work, you're getting paid, but you got to find work if that makes sense.
Right.
You have to find work. Well, let me learn how it is to be, Caleb Braxton or a Renee Paquette. Let me figure out how to somehow, some way get in it. That's one of the benefits I think of a bloated roster is you'll find out right there and then who wants it, who wants to be in the business versus who don't want to be in the business. And I think at times it's maybe purposely both companies probably bloat both rosters due to the fact that, okay, well, let's see how involved you can be when we don't have anything for you. You're not on top. You're back here. We might use you in the backstage segment. We might not. Like, how can you help? How can you help? And speaking of, I saw something, I don't know how true it is, and I'm kind of sad to hear about it. Apparently, creative has nothing for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in the corner on the prelims last week at at the UFC pay-per-view. Well, it wasn't on pay-per-view that particular fight, but yeah, he was that dude's corner man. And
Yeah.
it's like Shinsuke, yo. But and once again, I heard that might have been the same thing you saw, Eddie, but old boy Meltzer, and we all know about Meltzer. Just for those listening, we're not Meltzer heads. We take him with a grain of salt. So
Canister. I take him with a whole canister of salt.
Oh yeah. I mean, some things he say, I've used the adage, a broken clock is right twice a day
Twice a day.
when it comes to Meltzer. And he did say one thing about Shinsuke. Once again, we don't know if this is true or not because it's from Meltzer. He said Shinsuke may be okay at this point, being in that dude's corner and training him, surfing and
that's
just
what I
collecting the
read.
check.
That's what I read. And when I saw that, I was like, you old junkie office fart drilling fool, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah.
Old Cheeto smelling office, drilled farts, and 5-star matches from Crook and Hall. You might be right. You might be on the something.
Your broken clock is right twice a day, and he might be right on this one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing. Shinsuke is getting a little older, and he hasn't really been. Every time they give him the push, they always pull the plug. And granted, that was when Vince was still around, but Trips doesn't have anything for him, so that sucks.
I think he had that one little feud with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that was
I
like
remember seeing those.
Yeah, that was like the last big thing, and that was some of his best work, in my opinion.
I did like how they kind of repackaged them, and they gave him the vignettes where he's speaking and they're translating, and it had a very manga feel to it. Just kind of a manga villain, just brooding and whatever. Like it was dope, but they ran the feud and that was it.
Yep.
I say this all we got for you, but yeah, that's the one thing about I'd say about bloated rosters, it challenges the talent to actually be a skillful talent, not just inside the ring, but outside the ring. It just hit me. I'm like, you know what I said? Maybe it makes them become opportunists. Like how really involved do you really want to be in this business? How bad do you want it? What do you want to do?
Yeah, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Nigel McGuinness that said this in his documentary. I'm not sure if it was him or not, but he did say one thing he learned about the wrestling business early. Somebody pulled him aside like, "Hey, you got to find something else to do." No, it was Adam Pearce. That's who it was. Old scrap iron himself. And
Yep.
he said that's one thing he did early. He wanted to learn how to produce. He wanted to
Mm.
learn how to write. He wanted to learn how to book. He wanted to learn all the different facets of pro wrestling because just he knew that one day that his bump card was going to be full. He wasn't
Mm.
going to be able to go in the ring. Look at him now. In my opinion, Adam Pearce is probably one of the greatest authority figures on screen. If you ask me, just he
Mm.
does it well. I mean, he's believable in his role because he is a former wrestler, and people don't come in and intimidate him. And he knows how to work. He knows how to work the mic and do all of that. And not to mention, yeah, he's on screen, but he is in the back. He's coaching,
Mm-hmm.
he's producing, he's booking, he's doing all those things, and he's prolonged his career just that much. And I'm sure a lot of people probably had no idea who he was, for those who aren't familiar with his NWA 10-time heavyweight 10 pounds of gold championship status
Yeah.
or ROH run or any of that stuff. But he is effectively extended his career. And he said multiple times, like, I have no intention whatsoever to return to the ring in action. I'm good where I am. And it sounds like a win to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, man, is just he is right. You gotta, you want to be in this business, you gotta find something else within this business. Just like my journey into, my radio career, I started off being on radio, but then it was kind of like, well, what else can I do? Video live streaming. You can, you know, be the host and director of that. Then, you can be a part of, of the media team there. So you always can find your way.
Right.
If you want to be down, if you want to be in it, you always can find a way. So, and shout out to Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, because when I was like, yeah, Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, and I was like, ain't you Scrap Daddy? Ain't you Scrap Iron?
Yeah, I remember saying like, "Yo,
Yeah,
Adam Pearce, yo," and of course, nobody knew who he was. He didn't get a pop or anything, but I'm up
yeah,
here marking out like, "Yo, Scrap
yeah,
Iron."
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Scrap Daddy. Yeah, that damn Scrap Daddy. Yeah, and it's good to see him in that role too. Hell, look at Nick Aldis.
Yeah, and all this too.
Yeah.
yeah, especially him because he was actively wrestling
Mm,
before he moved over, and now it's like, okay, is he going to keep going for it? Is he not? I mean, he's been at it for years, and he's still kind of. I still think he could go a little bit more, but you
Yeah,
never know. You
he just
never
recently had
know.
a surgery on one of his arms, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he's officially retired.
no,
Mm.
which is interesting.
Nick Aldis.
Yeah, which is very interesting. Now we're talking about companies, fellas, and something that we have had conversation after conversation after conversation privately amongst the three of us. Now it's time to have this conversation to the general public, if you will.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, player. Tribalism in pro wrestling. People will live and die WWE, but won't even look at AEW. People will live and die by AEW, but won't look at WWE. People will live and die by both companies and not look at TNA and vice versa. My question, and I don't know if there's a definitive answer, but what is the big deal with tribalism in pro wrestling? Like my company is on top and your company is over there. Like, yeah, like yeah, tribalism in pro wrestling.
Oh boy. Tribalism in professional wrestling. It is the tale as old as time.
Yeah.
It's because at one point in our lives, and this is before we came along, there was the territories.
Mm,
Everybody's everywhere, right? And then came the Soul Company up in New York that just kind of revolutionized what we see today. That was like the main player for the longest, and then of course, we see NWA, WCW, and then it formulated to its own thing, WCW, 83 weeks, blah blah blah, on and on. It's one of the weirdest things, to be honest. I mean, I've been watching wrestling almost my whole entire life, and to see how tribalism, you see some knockdown dragouts on the internet, even in the forum board days. You would see people going back and forth. This guy's this. this guy's this, da da da. These guys are going back and forth, and it's just one of those things that doesn't make sense. And I can speak from experience. I won't go too crazy in depth with it, but 4 years ago, yeah, 4 years ago, October 2020, I stopped watching WWE like full time primarily because they split up the New Day again. I was tired of it. I was sick of their product. I was sick of the Thunderdome. I was sick of everything.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like the abusive relationship you can't get out of, but you finally got to figure out a way out of it because they say it's going to get better. It's going to get better, but it never gets better. So when I see people, just kind of gravitate just says WWE all day, every day, it's like, okay, it's like you're eating McDonald's all day long, but you're not branching out to try anything else. You're just eating McDonald's fries all day. You're eating that McDouble. You're eating that quarter pounder with cheese. You just
Mm-hmm.
that's your fast food wrestling there. Try something else. Extend your wrestling palette because that's what if it wasn't for WCW, I never would have known about New Japan.
Mm.
And that's what extended my wrestling palette when I was 10. I saw Muda spraying some green mist in the sky, and I was like, who is this guy? I need to know.
Yeah.
And I just don't get why people just want to side with one company. I guess it's just kind of like sports in general, how people's like, I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm a Lakers fan, I'm a Yankees fan. I stick with this team no matter what. I bleed blue and silver. It's like, okay, you don't really bleed blue and silver, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just something that people I think in general want to gravitate towards, and that's what they put their energy and they put their all into it, and that makes them that's their tribe, and they love their tribal chief, who I will never acknowledge as long as I live. And that's my point on tribalism.
Wow. An emphatic but sinister mic drop. There it is. There it is. Marcus, what say you, man?
Well, first of all, there's only one Samoan named Joe that I acknowledge, and his name is Samoa Joe. Secondly, tribalism. I think a lot of it comes from, and I don't think it's just in pro wrestling. I see this a lot in many IP fandoms across the board, whether it's sports, like AD said, whether it's politics, whether it's movies, fiction, video game, whatever. Everybody seems to want to take sides a lot of times. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess particularly with wrestling, and I know, yeah, AD makes a good point with the territories. I know, definitely maybe it was there, probably not as much just because, internet wasn't around, but it seemed like it really took off when WCW got cooking with the NWO and all of that, and then the Attitude Era began over in WWF. And it just from there. Now, a lot of the people that have come behind that, that's all they know. All they know is back in the day, or either when they were very young kids,
Mm-hmm.
WCW and WWF were feuding. WWF won. WWF, the superior company, nobody comes close. ROH couldn't do it. Impact couldn't do it. MLW couldn't do it. Nobody else could do it. And then Dynamite shows up on the scene. Oh, haha, another crazy company that think they can do better and blah, 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 blah. And I think it's a lot of, and so many people, they wrap their identity, kind of like AD was saying, they wrap their identities into whatever it is that they feel is their tribe, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
promotion of choice, whether it's their political affiliation, whether it's their whatever they identify with. They feel that it's a part of them, and anybody who speaks ill of that thing that they hold so near and dear and personal, they take it personally and are personally offended. And I think that's where a lot of this tension comes in. Like, for us, I know all three of us, we grew up with a pretty diverse palette when it comes to wrestling. And just real quick for those
Mm-hmm.
listening, y'all have heard this from me 50 million times. I grew up in South Carolina. We had more NWA/WCW more than anything. Eddie and I are both from South Carolina. That's right. He's from from
From
Dane
the
from the
big
Creek PD region from the
from the
coast
beach, the Grand Strand, baby, the
from the
Grand
beach. I'm from
Strand.
the Midlands,
Yeah.
Columbia, in the middle of the state. Either way, in South Carolina, we got a whole lot of NWA/a WCW. coming up. Personally, I had to stay up literally until like midnight on Saturday nights to watch WWF Wrestling Challenge and Superstars. And that was even sandwiched in between the episode of NWA and the episode of WCW. Whatever. WCW and NWA will play various times throughout the weekend, whereas WWF will only be that time slot at midnight. And then there was All American Wrestling on Sunday.
Sundays, yep.
I was usually at church, so I can see that. Then there was Monday Night Wrestling before Raw, whatever. Either way, I grew up on WCW, NWA, WWF, USWA, which was the old school Memphis territory. That used to come on every day after school on ESPN. Some days they would show WCCW instead, and some days they would show AWA. And then later on, like around 1991, they would even show Global Wrestling Federation.
Global Wrestling Federation, the GWF. Yeah, buddy.
Bill Wilkes, the Patriot. Well, he wasn't the Patriot; he was the Trooper there. I want to say.
No, in AWA, he didn't wear a he didn't have a hood on. He didn't wear a mask. He was the Trooper. He was the Trooper, Dale Wilkes, and it was when he went to the USWA, the GWF.
Yeah, he started wearing the mask.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Oh man, he was.
Dale Wilkes from my hometown, Columbus,
South Carolina. R.I.P. Dale Wilkes, man.
Yeah, but I know I'm getting long, so I'll wrap it up. But yeah, I grew. We all grew up with diverse palettes, and we are very open to well, except for AD with the global Stanford Entertainment Company at this point. But even then, his. Yours came from just after years and years and years of watching what you feel is a mediocre product. You're just like, all right, I'm done. And I'm with you because there were a lot of years where it was very mediocre, but I kept the open ear. It's improved. It still has a ways to go. Like I say, NXT is the best thing to me. But either way, we have diverse palettes and we don't wear it. So if anything, I guess we take the identity of we're wrestling fans. Don't care what I watch WoW Women's Wrestling. That show is not good, but I love it. I watch it every week and I love it. It's my guilty pleasure. So I don't know why. It's not good, but I love it. So yeah, I really don't understand why people feel the need to take that tribalism stance.
What's the one we were cutting up on the other night? It was like so bad.
Oh, Women's Extreme Wrestling, WEW.
Yeah.
No, listeners, if you can't go to YouTube, type in Wrestling with Regret. That's Brian Zane's channel. It's a good channel.
Yes.
And type in Women's Extreme Wrestling. He has 3 videos. Those things are hilarious. Hilarious. It's the worst wrestling you ever seen, but his commentary is just mwah.
It's so bad.
My favorite one when the girls on the top rope and she just she didn't jump. She just leaned over.
Like an Orange Cassidy splash. No, like a Snoop Dogg splash when he tried to splash that.
Yeah, she was on top rope. I said, man, she gonna jump. I was like, oh no, this is bad.
Oh, it's so bad. And also it's on Tubi.
It's
on Tubi. So if you want to watch some of it, just watch it. But it gets better later on. Thank goodness, it gets better later on. But
we might have to review this, gents. We might have to do a WEW review and just have fun.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think
party or something.
Yeah, watch party. Yeah, I think tribalism in wrestling, and I think we're all in agreement, can say that it is beyond, wrestling. It's just all throughout life. People are diehard Cowboys fans because if you're a Cowboys fan, and if you're from Philly and you like the Eagles, then they don't want nothing to do with you. It's that bad. And like you said, all 3 of us, we have had the ability to consume different types of wrestling coming up because I think that you also have to take in consideration the geographical region of the country that you're in. All 3 of us, we were primarily in the South. And then a lot of wrestling did happen up north, but we know you had your Mid-South, your USWA, you had your World Class Championship Wrestling. You had your GWF. I'm talking about everything, championship wrestling from Florida, um, Continental up in Tennessee with the Fullers,
Georgia
Georgia,
Championship Wrestling.
Georgia Championship Wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, South Atlantic Pro Wrestling, little, and many small little mom and pop promotions and territories across the southern region of the United States. You almost kind of had no chance, but you're gonna see something different. And if you ask me, I think those territories in the South, they were top priority over New York. I honestly think that they were top priority over New York, and that's why we would get, the Power Hour at 9:05 on TBS. I know you remember that.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, because
Oh man.
I can recap to you a Saturday right now with me and my dad. We get up 6 o'clock in the morning. If I had to get a haircut, we would be back by 8:30 with breakfast and everything. We sit in front of the TV, 9:05 TBS, the Power Hour. 10 o'clock, WWF Mania. And right around between 12 and 2, you would catch WCW Pro. Yeah, it'd be WCW Pro, and then 6:05, you got the mothership, the flagship, WCW Saturday Night.
Yep.
Yep. So you would have you have all that, and I just think that that took precedence over what was being shown in New York, because think about you've seen a lot of that like within a 6 to 7 8 hour time frame. And not to mention, you got your random showing of WCW Worldwide at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I remember laying in the bed and I was like, "That's wrestling. I'm tired." Yeah, yeah. I just think tribalism just all comes down to it. Just people love a favorite. People love that, like having a favorite team and love being the top dog. But we all three are in accordance. Like, look, you got to try something different from time to time.
Not to mention too,
You
our
got
ages too. I mean, all of us are over the age of 40, and many of the people with that take, they're probably in the 30s or younger, like 35 and younger. And I think that might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
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 It's all about exposure because we were exposed to a lot. I mean, the way I found TNA, I was at home one day with my grandparents at Fox Sports Southwest.
Mhm.
It just popped up and I saw like you know how they used to show like the on Fox Sports how they show so and so versus so and so.
Yeah, with the
They
time
they
and all that. Yeah.
yeah, they had that and I was like turn back to that real quick.
Yeah.
What is that?
Turn back
And I
real
think
quick.
it was Abyss and somebody else, and I was like, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
And then I just saw him beating the snot out of somebody, and I was like, "I need to see more of this."
Yeah. Soon as I saw Monty Brown hit that, I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm like, this dude thinks he's an animal. He thinks he's a dog. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, like I said, I think we just all benefited from like seeing different things, and that's why we can't really be like you said, Mark. We're in our 40s, man. We ain't got time to be hooked on something forever. Gotta see something different. Gotta see something different.
Yeah.
All right, before we get up out of here, an announcement was made earlier in the week by Stephanie McMahon. She said Raw will be uncensored once it hits Netflix.
Thank you.
It's gonna be uncensored. This is news to Brad. He just found out. And Marcus, you're curious. I'm gonna point. You're curious to what this whole uncensored. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to this not because I'm one of those people who want the Attitude Era back and I just want them to go back to cussing and bra and panty matches. No. If anything, I am so sick, and this even came out last week. I am so sick of Fox and USA censoring out the holy S chants.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not a prude or anything, or any of that. And maybe that's not the best thing to say, but you hear all the chants that happen on AEW, and they don't bleep. I said this the other day in our group, in the feed that we post to usually when the show is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like whenever the crowd breaks out into a holy chant, If you remember, you ever do the thing when you were a kid and you take your fingers, you jab them over your ears like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
That's
Holy,
kind of what it. Holy,
holy,
holy.
holy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hoping when they make that move to Netflix that they can just please just let them talk. Let
Yeah.
them talk. Let the cussing happen. It's just cuss words. It's not the worst thing in the world. Should the kids be hearing it? Probably not. I get it's a publicly traded company and I get they want to maintain a relatively PG and clean image. I'm
Mm.
all for that, but for the love of God, can you just stop bleeping that out? Just let them because we miss so much. We miss so much when that's happening. And the crowd hijacks it and stuff. So that's what I'm mostly looking forward to. And maybe, some darker, heavier storylines, kind of like the Wyatt Six.
Yep. AD, what do you think could be in store for the Stanford Embezzlement Entertainment Coalition Corporation and
Well,
them being uncensored?
well, for the TKO coalition, we're gonna see probably some more wildness that they have, like in UFC, for example, when they do interviews, they don't censor anybody during their interviews whatsoever. They don't.
Mm,
They
Nope.
don't. Um, that's it. As you mentioned, that's definitely news to me. That's crazy.
yeah.
That is going to be something to figure out because like as you mentioned, they're a publicly traded company, so they can't be too crazy and lose sponsors, but at the same time, you don't want to alienate your older fan base.
Yeah.
Because when you have a demographic that's 8 to 80, it's hard to please everybody.
Hard.
It's hard to please
Hard.
everybody, like hard fighting. It's like hard to please everybody because on one side of the spectrum you've got the children, you've got your teenagers, you've got your 20 somethings, you've got your 30, 40, 50 crowd, and then you got grandparents. And it's like, okay, how is Raw going to revolutionize itself again the way it's done over the last what almost 30, almost 40 something years, almost getting there,
Yeah.
something like that. No, sorry, 31 years, something like
31
that.
years, 31 years.
Yeah. So like how are they gonna like revolutionize themselves again by being uncensored? Like, are they gonna like curse more? Are they gonna like have, like Marcus mentioned, heavier storylines? Like, what are they gonna do? So it's gonna be crazy for those that watch. I mean, I'd love to see the Wyatt Six kind of have a budget and just go bonkers on everything, blood everywhere.
Mm.
Fantastic, but I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be something to see. It's gonna be something to see for sure.
I'm gonna tell you the best way, and it just hit me to memorize what year Monday Night Raw came out. The last time a Canadian hockey team won the Stanley Cup was 1993, the same year Monday Night Raw debuted. So that's 31 years.
Wow.
So just remember, 31. Last time Canada touched the Stanley Cup was the same year that Raw debuted. I'm gonna be real quick about it. I'm gonna go ahead and get us up out of here. I don't know what to expect. I know it's gonna be a lot of cussing, some more hard fighting. I think they're gonna turn it up a notch. It ain't gonna be nothing like the Attitude Era because you cannot, with the way society is set up now, you can't duplicate it. But I think it's gonna be a little bit more. It's gonna be more edgier content, more adult coarse language. I think they're gonna go down from 3 to 2 hours, which would be great.
Ooh.
Yeah, from what I heard, don't confirm me on this. What I heard,
I
that'd
did
be
see that.
yeah, and that'd be good because midway through hour two, it's like, I got one more hour. The hell, it's just yeah,
It's a chore.
it goes from labor of love to a freaking chore. So I just hope it all goes good. So fellas, we had us a deep discussion tonight about everything there is in the world of pro graps. There's the list right there. It's a bill that I need to pay. But nevertheless, we want to thank you for listening and joining us on another episode of the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling Podcast. You can catch this as of right now on the Sports Bros Podcast podcast feed, which means you can hear this on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Apple iTunes. So until next time, everybody, Take care of yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. They're greatly appreciate it now more than ever. This is the Connoisseurs of Wrestling podcast. And as always, keep on hard fighting.
Hard fighting, brother.
Peace, y'all.
Hard fighting number 55. Bee stinging in the hive.
Trying to stay alive.
4th of July fireworks.
Yeah, 4th of July fireworks.
Fireworks.
Looking like looking like Kaiser Nat's room.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the cover, Kaiser Nat's room. Where's the fight? Where's the fighting? Don't worry about it. It's in there somewhere. All right.
Kaiser Nat's room.
Yep. Thanks for watching. And see y'all next episode right here on the Connoisseurs of Wrestling podcast.
Peace, y'all.